Good evening. Good evening. It is this is June 14th, 2023. It is 12:05 a.m. You already know who it is. Target individual CJBK. Um, I am. I just got finished doing a radiation salt and soda detox bath. Remember, that's basically more or less a pound of sea salt and more or less a pound of baking soda. Let it dissolve in a tub, and then you soak in a tub. Make sure you scrub your skin, um, with the water while you're in the tub for 45 minutes. Then you get up and you rinse off with fresh water. Um, Usually after that, my cells feel a lot more revitalized afterwards because, basically, the salt or the sodium rather, it helps extracts a lot of charge or unnecessary charge that your body doesn't need and the cells in your body doesn't need. So it pulls out any charges or toxins that you don't need in your body that's throwing your body out of whack. Um, and with that being said, while I was in there, I was listening to this chakra meditation energy tuning video. I'm not sure how effective it was, but while I was in there, um, when I'm in the tub, I like to make sure I sink my body in low. And if I get in, of course, you get in feet first, and then I kind of like sit in there with my legs, because then I know I want to allow my legs to get a good amount of the soaking because they use amplified frequencies to cause cellular and tissue damage to my knees. Mostly the the LCL, MCL, and probably meniscus. Um, then what they also do, as a matter of fact, just as I thought about it too, they they transmit amplified or amplified or modified frequencies to like my left hip joint, and then what I would hear the V2K handler Michael. I don't know his real name. I call him Michael. It's four of them that's in the Bronx. I believe my brain mapping started when I was living in 1490 Boone Avenue. There was a lot of environmental tappings and sounds, whether it was, droppings of things on the floor above my head, and they would always be directly above the head, like someone, like almost as if someone was standing, like they knew in the apartment under them, you were sitting right there. So that what they would do, they would take a marble and drop it right above your head, and that sound vibrating and echoing across the floors, whatever, your brain is going to pick up that sound, and then it's going to cause like almost kind of like a break or a change in brain waves. And in that split second that you actually get distracted by that sound, it's almost like they send like an intercepting frequency or some other type of frequency to basically jump into that brainwave, or maybe they use that time frame to then be able to manipulate your brainwaves or something like that. I'm not really sure, but anyway, while I was in there, I was hearing this sound of like something very heavy being dragged. Um, Not necessarily like a chair, not heavy enough to be like a couch, but it was something heavy, something that probably has a good deal of metal on it. And then even right now, you probably can't hear it, but there's this low bass, vibrating sound that's coming from the walls. And these sounds are not natural environmental sounds. Like the sound that I'm hearing right now, you might not be able to hear, but it sounds like when you turn when you turn an electric guitar amp on, right, and you turn the volume all the way up and you hear it. That's what I'm hearing right now. But at midnight, why would an amp be turned on at midnight? So yeah, that's that. Then two, while I was in the tub, um, oh yeah, I just looked at my thumb and remembered to bring this up. So what I did, I'm trying something different. After understanding that your hands basically emit a lot of or your hands basically emit electromagnetic waves. Your hands basically emit energy, and each of your fingers represent a different part of your body. The thumb represents the head, among other things. Basically, a lot of things dealing, going on with the head. I forgot. Um, yeah, there's several things involving the head that when uh, when you want to read, or if you wanted to read or determine the energy field or level of things happening in the head portion or the head, you would basically read the energy emitting from the thumb. Um, this is something that I was reading about in a it's a article or a study called measurement of bioelectric um, energy or something like that. Because there are devices that you can use to measure the bioelectric energy or frequencies that are emitted from the body. So what I thought that was, okay, what if I were to take a copper wire and just wrap it around my thumb? Now, upon doing that, I felt just a little bit of pressure. I felt a little bit of pressure decrease in the brain. I mean, there's still pressure there, but it's not as much after once I had wrapped this copper wire around my thumb. So now my next thing to do is I'm actually considering taking the copper wire and wrap it around all my fingers, at least on the right hand, because the right hand seemed like it emits a lot more energy than my left hand does. But my right hand is also a lot more sensitive to detecting energies around my body or anything that is like affecting my energy aura. So some of you TIs may have come to realize that um, basically what they're doing is they're bombarding our aura, our energy fields with these synthetic electromagnetic fields or waves from other devices, whether it be, well, transmitters in a sense, but sensors, um, Wi-Fi signals, all these different things. I mean, I have cell towers on the top of my building, um, but also, if someone had a device where they can basically aim, um, frequency waves at you, from whether it be infrasound waves, or it can be like some type of infrared light transmitter. Um, they're basically bombarding your body. They're bombarding your energy field, and because of all of these different devices that are bombarding your field, it basically throws your cellular energy um, out of whack. And with that happening, well, yeah, you get sick. You develop anxiety or other type of mental or cognitive, um, um, not deformities, but or deficiencies, but cognitive difficulties or impairments. And then like that, after mention, with that being said, as I was in the tub, I started to feel. So, uh, let me see. So, let me see. The memory processing area of the brain is kind of like, yeah, I believe it kind of goes not that far, but it's somewhere between here and like here, I think. And there is an intense beam. Yeah. So there's, now notice there was a sound just now that you just heard, that tap on the ceiling. And interesting how they're right above where I'm at. Doesn't matter where you go. Right, okay, so right here where my index finger is, right? There is an indent. There is a divot. There's a divot inside, like it goes several layers. Like it goes, like there's a dip past the skin, past several tissues, and then it may even have like a little it may be like a little micro or nano hole that penetrates through the skull right there. But right there, that is where the memory processing region, or the memory cortex of the brain is. And I've been experiencing, I haven't had any head injuries. Matter of fact, I do not even recall ever having head injuries, really. I mean, like probably when I was a teenager, but that's years ago. But no, that wasn't even that serious. I didn't even like um get a concussion or have to go to the hospital, nothing like that. But anyway, there is very intense pulses that are coming from, like, it's coming at like an angle like this, and it goes straight into the memory cortex. Now what I can do is, I've mentioned this before, where I told you your hands and your fingers emit electromagnetic waves. So because your hands and your fingers emit an electromagnetic wave, because they're using an amplified frequency wave, that means the power and intensity of the wave that they're using should be, noticeable compared to your hand. So as I'm moving my hand back and forth, I could feel my hand crossing the path of something. Like, and it's not that big. Like the space of the area, like, so it's, let me see. Like it's probably not that much bigger, and probably maybe a little bit smaller than that, right? And it's a thermal, like it's like, I don't even know how would you explain it, but it's like, it's as if like, it's as if like, because it's like I can feel the heat of the beam. I can feel the heat of the beam traveling through the air. But not only do I feel the heat, but I can feel the vibration of the energy passing through my hand. And as it passed through my hand, or interacts with the energy that's being emitted from my fingers, it's also creating like this numbing, tingling sensation as my hand passes through it. As my hand passes through it, I could feel like like a force pushing against my hand, but then it's like a force is pushing against my hand, but then I push through it. But it's still connected to the brain. It doesn't disconnect as I'm passing through it. It's almost as if like it's as if like you know how when a heat lamp is shining down on food and you just wave your hand under it, you because it's cool it's cool when you're outside of the heat lamp, but then when you go under the heat lamp, you feel the heat, but then when you come out of the heat lamp, you feel the coolness. That's what I feel. So in front of my head, it feels cool, right? Up here, it feels cool. But then once I pass my hand back here, I feel the heat hit the back of my hand, and then I pass my hand through it. And then I feel the heat on the front palm side of my hand, pass through, feel it on the front, and then I'm passing through it. So there is infrared, whether it's near or far, light. They're using light to pass through. They're using light to pass through the skin and engage the different nerves and whatever. And then they can also change the amplitude and the intensity of a frequency to be able to get down into the more um, deeper levels of the body. All the way down to possibly the atomic levels. And because they're bombarding the body with electromagnetic fields 24/7, and we're talking about non-ionized. And that's the problem. People always constantly talking about, well, oh, cell phones aren't harmful because they're non-ionizing. Well, the thing about it is, if you're exposed, let's think about it like this: ionizing radiation, you spend probably about like an hour or so unprotected around ionizing radiation, you would probably experience some adverse reactions right away. Like right away, probably, yeah, depending on the strength and power of the ionized radiation, you'd probably feel those effects right away. Compared to non-ionizing, extremely low frequency radiation, you're not going to feel it right away. And it's not going to feel, you're not, and it's not going to be something that you would feel, um, hell, even within just a few hours. But if you're bombarded by um non-ionized radiation for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and especially if someone can actually increase the intensity or the power or the amount of energy that's being emitted onto your body for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, if they can increase and change the amount of power that can be emitted onto your body, then obviously over time and over a shorter period of time, well, yeah, over time, you would basically start to notice long-term effects of non-ionizing radiation exposure to your body. Notice that sound? Right. I'm telling you, it's after midnight. Most people are asleep, or they probably aren't making that much noise this late at night. But oh well. Um, and you know, I just do my best. Like, I know I myself can't do what I would really want to do, as far as trying to help out everyone and see if I can liberate people, or at least give people things that they need to know so then they can at least, you know, be able to endure a bit longer. Um, Cause yeah, after finding out another Ti that I actually personally got to know, he passed away. Um, this guy named Robert Stanson. He has a YouTube channel. Robert Stanson. He called himself Magneto, because he was known for building helmets and armor and plates and stuff like that. He would always tell you, I can actually hear the frequencies hit the helmet, you know. And he was a cool dude. I never got to meet him in person, but yeah, it's kind of messed up. Him, Catherine Quinn, who else? Another lady. No, I didn't really get to know her, but yeah, there's a couple of people um who died all within just 2 months. I think another guy. I think his name was Michael Henry. I forgot. But yeah. So but yeah, I just want to you know, I just want people to know that no matter what you're going through, just remember you're not alone. We're all going through this. Those of us who are choosing not to be quiet, we are going through it together. You know, and I feel like even if we don't um end up finding, retribution while we're still alive, we already know at the end of the day, the human existence isn't going to be able to survive this much amount of radiation or synthetic energy that they're putting into their lives. That's why they're actually changing people's DNA. That's why they're changing the structure and the atomic um, structure at the atomic level of people. That's why they're changing people so then they can be able to be more, I guess, accepting, that so that their bodies can I guess receive or engage all this radiation better or whatever. I don't know. Me personally, I think my body's pretty fine. I don't need to be augmented. um and hell, I'm accountable for myself, so I don't necessarily need an AI to tell me anything about anything. um but anyway, yeah. And they're all about basically hoarding resources. um if you say something about somebody that's a part of their technocratic society, oh, they gonna do something against you, just like in anything else. You say something about a group of people or something about somebody or something that a majority of people probably, have no problem with. But then because you have an opinion, oh, we got to get rid of this person. Yeah, there's that. There goes that free speech. They're trying to basically strip everyone away from. They're trying to strip the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and human rights away from everyone. And then they're also trying to use this technology to basically strip your free will away from you. Because if you no longer have free will, then you're simply a slave. I mean, if you don't have free will, then you're a slave, and I mean, I have no intentions of becoming anyone's slave. I mean, shit, I personally choose death over becoming a slave to anybody, honestly. Um, and luckily for them, death is a part of their culture. So, I guess that's something that I don't necessarily have to worry about, because I know eventually they will take my life. You know, if that's a part of God's plan, you know, because, well, I'm different from them. I think different from them. I act different from them. I see the world differently from them. I feel energy different from them. Everything about me is different from them. And, people only kill things that they are afraid of. And difference is usually one of the main things that people will kill for. because something looks different from them. And they'll tell you it's because of whatever reason. Oh, you disrespected the streets. Oh, it's about, codes and no, no. I did not provoke you in any way. You came at me. Their whole thing is like, oh, because all they ever this whole system is basically built on going after people who are, for the most part, truthful, honest, and righteous, not just self-righteous, not self-righteous, but they're righteous. They actually believe in doing the right things. They actually believe in being accountable and holding people accountable, you know. And what they basically are doing is they're going after anyone that tries to, well, make you be accountable for yourself. They can't stand someone who actually is like, no, you shouldn't. I don't know. No, you shouldn't throw trash out your window out into the street. And then somebody who actually does throw trash out their window out into the street, they gonna hear this comment and get mad and be like, oh, he talking shit about people who throw trash out the window, like he's better than somebody. So then what they gonna do? They're gonna get their secret society people. They're gonna get all their gang stalkers, all their flying monkeys. They're gonna get all these people, and they gonna come at you, in all these secretive ways that they can. And if they don't crush you the way they want to covertly, then they'll probably just get somebody who probably don't have a care for nothing, and get that person to overtly come out and attack you. And they'll probably look like something like, oh, you know, and the news will probably paint it as, oh, this person just, got pummeled unprovoked, or got pushed onto the train tracks unprovoked, or whatever. It always would sound like something like that. Somebody was just like, it always sounded like somebody was just like randomly standing to the side, minding their own business, and then here comes this stranger, this person out of nowhere just comes swinging on them for no reason. Never had an interaction with this person. And I feel like that's basically the secret society using their bots, the ones who are completely defenseless against the frequency manipulations of the mind. They're the ones that they basically use to then attack, specific targets, or people who don't even know that they're targets. And it's kind of messed up. I'm not even kind of messed up. It is messed up. It's fucked up, really. But yeah. I think what people need to do for the most part is, even if you can't find out all the information you can on the tech part, and and you can't really and you find it difficult to understand about brain computer interfaces, and electroencephalograms, or EEGs, or functional magnetic resonant images, or fMRIs. Even if you can't understand all that, even if you can't understand, some things in quantum physics, or you can't understand certain things about frequencies and radiation, and chakras, and a lot of the things that I mentioned, the least you can do is understand that your entire body is basically like a battery. Your entire body is basically like a full fully conductive, like, electrical system, right? And what you got to do is you have to remember that your body can either become supercharged, or your body can not have enough charge. And that's why there is a balance that has to be, found, or stabilized when it comes to the energy level, or the cellular health. And what they basically do is they are overcharging the body. Like if you're not a part of their technocratic society, because for the most part, everyone a part of that technocratic society, their body is already overcharged. Their body is already overcharged because in order for them to be able to see or be able to have the access to the different visual spectrum of light, for them to be able to see these things and hear these different things or whatever, in order for them to be as connected to the cloud, as you will, they had to have changed atomic and cellular things in their body. They had to change energy levels, which means they're absorbing more energy than the human body was actually meant to absorb. Which means at some point somewhere down the line, all of these people are going to be fucked. They just don't see it yet. What's happening with TIs, I believe, what's happening with TIs is we are actually experiencing an overkill. It's like an overflow of energy. So they're still overcharging their bodies. They just don't realize that they're gonna be experiencing those effects in the long run. What's happening with TIs and those who probably don't know that they're TIs is that we're actually having the overflow. We're basically getting the overcharge. Like we're experiencing what they're supposed to be experiencing, but we're experiencing it like 5 times more than what they're getting. That's why most of them. That's why if you pay attention to many of them, and especially the ones you know is a part of it, if you watch them long enough, you can see the weaknesses in their bodies and everything like that. Because remember, the human body is still natural. It's still of the earth. So by bombarding something that's natural with something that's very strong but very harmful to the body, no matter how they try to look at it or change or modify whatever frequencies, it's still synthetic energy interacting with a natural energy. You can't be mixing the two and think nothing bad is going to happen. They don't realize it yet, but their whole existence is about to be wiped out, and they're going to keep increasing the amount of energy that's going to be put on their bodies. Why? Because they want to make the world into this great digital whatever, and they're going to bombard the earth and humanity and all of this energy that we're not supposed to be absorbing. And then what's going to happen is the majority of those people are going to end up in the same position as most TIs, but worse. Now for us TIs, what we need to do is we need to ground, do everything that we can, and that's what I was going to get into, is we have to do everything that we can to ground. That's why I put this on, because I figured by wrapping this copper wire around, well, it's not really grounding, but it is causing an interference in the layers of the frequencies that's around, that's being emitted from my body. Because like even just by moving my thumb like this, I can feel the energies around the body even more. But yeah, so like doing this, I could feel pressure relieved in the head just slightly. Interesting. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to let people know that I'm doing all right. I'm trying to manage myself. I need to go to sleep. My alarm about to go off in about 2 hours. Matter of fact, I'll probably just give myself an extra 30. Because I already washed. I ain't got to worry about doing that in the morning. I got to turn off all the power in my room and hopefully I could sleep. But, knowing everything that been going on up there, who knows if I'll be able to sleep at all. And I mean, look, I already accepted my fate, and I already accepted the fact that most of the people who I thought were family and friends, they're out to protect themselves. And I get that. All I know is when that day come, and if God willing, I'm supposed to be here in that time when retribution is had, and judgment is sweeping throughout the globe, and things are happening to people who that weren't happening to them, and then the things that were happening to like people like us, that's no longer going to be happening. I know in the Bible it mostly says that when those days of calamity come upon the enemy, we're not even we're not even supposed to look back at them. We're not even supposed to just acknowledge that they're going through it, because at the end of the day, if they weren't going through something while we were going through something, then that means when we stop going through it, y'all supposed to go through what y'all going through. So I'm gonna just take that for what it is. But I am taking note that some of the TIs that I have heard that have passed, many of them were kind of much older though. They were definitely like over, let's say over 40. I mean that's still pretty young, but some TIs that I heard that passed were already like in their 50s or 60s. But they've been battling, the radiation and everything for like 15, 20 plus years. So, at some point, I think for what it is, even though they had to endure and suffer for so long, they have fulfilled their purpose. They have fulfilled their purpose in this world, and God has called them to no longer have to suffer. I mean, yeah, you know, it sucks that, we can't just live a normal, decent life here on Earth, but that's why Earth is actually the battleground between both light and dark, good and evil. Earth is the battleground. Once we leave Earth, we are no longer a part of the war, at least in this aspect anymore. We are now able to transition away from all of this. But you can't kill yourself and then, think that, you're going to be blessed afterwards. No, you can't do that. And you can't, take it upon yourself to go out and commit acts of violence because, you can't get help, because that's not going to help you either. The most thing you could do is learn about your body, learn about your spiritual energy, learn about energy in general. And then practice high vibrational practice having habits that raises your vibration. Practice habits that raise the vibrations of other people. Because that's what's really going to help keep people alive, really keep people alive and sane, is the better you are with maintaining your peace, your love, your joy, and the better it would be for someone to manage theirs, because they see you managing yours, and then you teach them how to do the same for themselves, and well, it spreads. I mean, the enemy has spread himself like a green bay tree, like it says in I think it's either in Psalms or Proverbs, where it says the enemy has spread himself like a green bay tree, something like that. But yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna end it here. Just wanted to get that off, and yeah. Oh, I ordered. Well, I told my girlfriend about my idea, and then she just went ahead and ordered it. She's slowly trying. I mean, she's not doing as much research as I would want her to, but I'm not going to force her to do that type of stuff. Usually, whenever I'm not around her or with her, I take that time to do a lot of research, and I'll bookmark some stuff or I'll save it in my notes on my phone. But luckily, yeah, usually when I bookmark a lot of studies, articles, like journal articles, peer reviewed articles, and things of that sort on, you know, since we can't find the military or many of the military um, descriptions on how they would use frequencies to manipulate the nervous system, things of that sort, I would basically have to find the medical um, technological experiments where they're basically using frequencies and stuff to heal. Remember, the military always contracts out to medical to the medical industry or the tech industry to see if they can take whatever is being used to heal and weaponize it so then they can use it in war. But it's just sad to realize the war is never really about warring against another country or something. I think wars against other countries is basically the facade. It's the facade. It's the smoke and mirror, because I mean, when you understand how large and how deeply rooted, secret societies are in well, all over the world, who are these countries actually warring with? They're not warring with countries. It's literally secret societies warring against ideologies, or it's just a distraction so that people don't know that there's a much bigger plot at hand. A war is there to basically distract you from what's actually happening. This whole, I mean, me personally, I think the whole Trump case is basically a distraction from what's actually happening now. Anytime the news try to go full blown gung ho on a coverage about something that kind of almost seem like it's like, what? There's usually something a lot worse going on behind closed doors. A lot worse. You know, um oh well. Anyway, take life one breath, one thought, one step, one day at a time. Peace.